My father did not muffle the final words he spoke to me. They were bellowed-like. The Florida sky was pierced by thunder. My daughter is not employed in the technology sector. Then the front door slammed so forcefully that the picture frames in the hallway trembled. My backpack collided with the cracked laptop charger, a half-eaten protein bar, unzipped and spilling cables, and porch tiles that landed with a thud. Although it was not the grandiose departure I had anticipated for my significant break into the field of cybersecurity, I refrained from crying. Not at that time. Two stood there in my leggings and hoodie, feeling the heat cling to my skin as if it were a form of punishment. My father was positioned behind the screen door, fists clenched, respiration labored. My mother remained in his shadow. She searched the floor, her lips pressed tight, her eyes performing the same routine they always did, in quest of a version of me. She could provide an explanation to her acquaintances. "Lauren, you were extended an offer by the organization." She spoke softly. "Your cousin exerted considerable effort to secure you that position in finance." "I am not interested in auditing spreadsheets," I replied, my voice trembling but with clarity. "I desire to construct an object that safeguards individuals." At that moment, my father lost his composure. He tore. I tore the printout of my scholarship acceptance into fragments and threw them into the air in a manner reminiscent of confetti. "Do you believe that interacting with computers is a viable profession? You are squandering a potential future, a genuine one." I refrained from responding. I have just completed the process of zipping. I closed my bag and proceeded to my battered Toyota, which I had acquired with the savings I had accrued from tutoring. Calculus and constructing firewalls that were constructed by amateurs for their peers who downloaded questionable software. I departed from the residence in Coral Gables by means of my vehicle with a meager $900 in my account, no job and no support. However, in my Dropbox, I have my prototype, which is the initial framework of an anomaly detection system. I had been developing the system since my sophomore year. In Miami, I relocated to a communal residence, small, susceptible to roaches, and scarcely operational. Alina, my roommate, was a bartender who consistently remembered to empty the garbage, despite the fact that she never remembered to do so. "Transport any remaining potatoes to your residence." She extended an invitation to utilize the corner desk in our kitchen, provided that I refrain from monopolizing the Wi-Fi. During the day, I was employed at the help desk of a second-tier cloud provider, where I responded to inquiries such as, "Why is my screen not functioning? Turning on?" and "Do I require a reboot?" I composed numerous lines of code in the evening, yet no one would compensate me for the ingenious, unstable, and messy code that I have created. However, I maintained my conviction. As I continued to inform, I would occasionally observe my cousin on LinkedIn, and I would tell myself, "You are not squandering your degree, you are investing it." Finance awards, speeches at Dad's firm, and new suits would be my reward. I would then close the account and bite, reduce your feelings of envy, and continue to type. 6 months later, the pivotal moment occurred. It is Thursday evening, shortly after 1 a.m., was relatively tranquil. I was conducting a test of a script that I had developed to simulate data breaches through minor anomalies, which were largely disregarded by the majority of systems. My equipment did not. It signaled them. A green dot, and then an abrupt change to red, a breach. A diminutive on a simulated, yet sufficiently authentic to be discernible. My code functioned properly, not entirely, not commercially, but functionally. I refrained from engaging in any form of physical activity, including dancing or screaming. I remained seated. I am gazing at the screen and whispering to myself, "It functions. It actually functions." I accessed a new folder, Sentinel V 1.0, that evening. A year has elapsed. I constructed version after version. Swifter, more efficient, and more intelligent. I submitted entries under pseudonyms on security forums. Additionally, I attracted the attention of a mid-tier investor who expressed his admiration for my thought process. I failed because I was not a male with a Stanford sweatshirt. I submitted an application to each hackathon that was within a reasonable travel distance. I prevailed. Some individuals suffered greater losses. However, the same question was posed of me each time I presented Sentinel. Are you the one who created this? Indeed. Additionally, no one ever inquired as to who instructed me, as I would have responded accordingly. No one, as the individuals who were supposed to have believed in me, did not. 2 years in, a recruiter from a financial compliance startup contacted me after reading one of my public blog posts, credential cramming. I was employed as a security consultant on a part-time basis. The financial compensation was inadequate. However, the access was invaluable. Upon discovering that their back-end systems were a complete mess and rife with defects, I initiated privately documenting. I did not leverage them. However, I did map them. Each and every, I intended to incorporate vulnerability into my own instrument in the future. I was compensated to observe their deficiencies. My strength was enhanced by employing them. One evening, Alina arrived home inebriated and threw a Wired magazine onto the table. The cover story of the magazine was Top 10 Young. Cyber, innovative individuals to observe. Although I was not present, one of the individuals who was featured was citing AI had composed a blog post under a pseudonym. I grinned. It was not yet appropriate, as some empires are coded in silence, while some seeds grow silently. That is the one thing they have never comprehended. They believed that silence indicated failure. However, I was constructing an object that was invisible to them, something that would one day compel them to take up the phone and utter the words I never anticipated. What was the reason for your failure to do so? Inform us. But that is a matter for the future. This question mark. This is merely the beginning. Approximately 6 months after Alina dropped the Wired magazine on our unstable table, I received an AN missive that initially appeared to be of limited significance. The subject line was straightforward. Urgent breach. Request for consultation. Concern. The sender was a compliance officer from a mid-sized organization, not a prominent figure. I was previously unaware of this fintech company. Let us refer to it as Blue Peak. They discovered one of my blog posts by conducting a search for anomaly detection in the context of credential leakage. I refrained from experiencing enthusiasm. These items seldom resulted in any movement. Nevertheless, I